Welcome, friends, and thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you following along over the last couple of weeks while I've been sharing about my Kundalini Awakening yoga teacher training. Now, there are many of you here that are just realizing that we're at deadline, and this is who I'd really love to speak to today. Those of you who maybe didn't trust your first instinct about whether to join or not. You should always trust your very first instinct. That's something we're going to be working on in the course, learning how to trust your inner guidance, your intuition. And there may be some of you that just, need that pressure of a deadline to finally make a decision. And hopefully that's a pattern that we're going to break as well, because that just tends to create unnecessary chaos in your life. I think by this point, you're probably feeling whether this is right or not for you. Set the logistics aside, because I'm going to walk you through the logistics in a moment. But just feel into, do you feel drawn to this or not? Whatever that is, that's okay. We journey together for a period of time. You may be studying with someone else. We come and go in each other's lives. It's a journey. It's a journey. So I want to walk you through the logistics today as this complete summary of everything that you're going to get. But this isn't really about logistics. This really is about, is this the time for you to dive into this work? And I don't mean time in terms of, can I fit it into the schedule? And this is why I keep, kind of shooting down this logistics thing. This is either something you're drawn to and you want to be a part of it, you want in, or not. It's one or the other, right? We're going to get to logistics in a moment, but all this talk about time and scheduling, we're having a lot of conversations about that. But I can tell you there is no more user-friendly schedule than what I've created for you right now. And the reason is, for the last 25 years, I've been running yoga studios, teaching courses online, while running retreats, while creating new trainings, while raising a family, while dealing with sick family members, while doing all of these things, and knowing just how busy life can be. And because life is so busy, because life can be so full, it's exactly why we need to learn how to get these practices fitting into our schedules so that our life can work, right? So the schedule is super user-friendly because all of the curriculum, all of it, is recorded. So if you want to do this 11 p.m. at night, and I've done that before, I've had to do courses myself late at night. If you want to do this 5 o'clock in the morning, that's available to you. If you don't want to start with us on September 1st, that's also available to you. You can start whenever you want because it's pre-recorded. Now, the reason we're putting this little bit of a push on to get you to register now is because by doing this work that goes far beyond learning to teach yoga, this really is life-changing work. By doing this work now, this added bonus is that the Yoga Alliance is recognizing all this work right now only as part of your journey to earning a yoga teacher certificate. Now, who knows? You may not be interested in that right now, but there might be a point in time that you want to start sharing this work with others. So if you intend at some point in time to do this journey, to take this journey with us, why not do it now while you get this extra bonus of earning your course credits? So now I'm going to walk you through the logistics, and just to make sure you understand everything that you get when you sign up for this journey. But the biggest thing that you get, the biggest thing that you'll experience are those energetic shifts that I've been talking about the last few weeks, because this practice, more than any other, focuses deeply on the energy centers in the body. We create these shifts in our internal energy that changes changes everything. Once you change how you feel in here, everything in your life will start changing. Everything from your relationships to your career to how you've been treating yourself. And we're going to spend a lot of time diving into that work, and I'm really excited about it. So I'm going to do a screen share, and this is purely to give you a full summary of the training so you're crystal clear on exactly what you get. And before we even get into those logistics, again, just tap in and say, you know, do I feel drawn to this? And if you feel drawn to it, then sit with the information and figure out, is this a legitimate excuse why I don't want to do it right now or not? Because what happens with this work is that it's very revealing. It reveals your relationship with yourself. It reveals how you get in your own way. And it takes a lot of courage to face that, but it's the only thing that can affect real change in your life. So let's do this. Let me walk you through the journey. And I'm going to pull up this page here that gives you all the details about the course. I'm going to do two things. I'm going to open a window and get some fresh air in here. And I'm going to put on my glasses so that I can actually see what I'm saying. Okay, so this is the training that I've been referring to, the online Kundalini Awakening Yoga Teacher Training. Training online is not new for me. There is one component of this course that is new because of the Yoga Alliance rules, because of being able to get certified this year online. So that's just important for you to know that myself and my team have spent since 2014 figuring out a really great user-friendly format for you so that you can get the most out of online training. And also to note, this style of yoga lends itself really well to training online because we don't have all the complexity that you do in a more physical practice. This practice is physical. You're going to definitely strengthen your body, your physical body. That's a given. But the movements are simple. They're very free-flowing movements. So that's why, you know, it's not as critical as other yoga trainings where hands-on adjustments are such an important part of the training. The other reason why this particular work lends itself so well to online training is because there's a lot of self-inquiry work. There are places that you won't really want to go to unless you have that uninterrupted personal space. So being in your home, being in that cocoon-like atmosphere will take you where you need to go to answer some deep questions for yourself. And I'm going to guide you through the whole process. So yes, you're alone, but truly we're together. So as I've said, this work is not new. I've been teaching these courses for 25 years now and online since 2014. The course is online since 2014. I've been teaching online since 2004. And just going to try to give you the key highlights here. So just to remember, this course is not only for yoga teachers, it's for anybody wanting to use yoga for exactly what it's meant to do. It's meant to change your life through this awakening process, because I teach the Kundalini tradition, the language I would use for you is because you awaken to that Kundalini energy that's available to you. Basically, you're awakening to who you really are, what you're here to do, and all the things that you've let stand in your way. And all of those things have a home in the body. They're connected to those energetic centers that I talked about. We call them chakras in the yoga world. I like to play with both the yoga lingo, so you're familiar with that. I also really like to simplify it so that you understand this isn't just some esoteric work or some philosophical discussion we're going to have. We want to look at What's getting in the way of you changing your life? You can address it quickly. You can see big shifts in your life very, very quickly. And I can absolutely promise you that. So let's just get down into a few things that relate to schedule and what you actually receive. So you may have heard me say by now that there's 2 different ways that you can take this training. There is a 60-hour component to the training, which is all the tools and techniques of putting together classes and how you would teach and which poses or movements you would use to address those energy centers, what breath techniques would address those energetic centers in the body. This is where all the technical work is. The 60-hour training comes with a very comprehensive manual, and we're going to move through the material quickly. We're going to move through it in 30 to 40 days, but you don't have to complete that coursework until December 31st to get and still receive full credit for it. This is where we're talking about this certification. This particular aspect of the course is especially important for the certification process. And you have right up until December 31st to get it done. We're going to move through it quickly because we've got a whole lot of other stuff we want to dive into, which relates to this registration option, the 200-hour training. Now, someone who already has, this is a little bit of yoga lingo. To teach yoga, the Yoga Alliance, our governing body, requires us to have a 200-hour certificate. That's how much training you need to be a Yoga Alliance recognized teacher. My training happens to be recognized internationally. Now, if you already have a 200-hour certificate, you do have the option of just doing this 60-hour training. You might want to start to explore this Kundalini awakening process. It's quite different, or it's very, very different from what you may have experienced in other Kundalini classes, because I'm going to say 99.9% of Kundalini classes out there are Kundalini yoga as taught by Yogi Bhajan. And this is not what this is. Again, I'm getting into a little bit of yoga lingo, yoga jargon. Those of you who have been in the yoga space for a little while or been exploring Kundalini will understand what that means. If you're taking a Kundalini class anywhere else, there's a 99.9% chance that you're going to be doing the exact same class no matter which teacher you study with, because they're all using the same sets as taught by Yogi Bhajan, the same manual, everything. There's a certain association that they have to go through for certification. I did all that. I did all that 25 years ago. And then I right away went from that training right into an Iyengar yoga training. Why? Because when I looked at the body awareness that was discussed and safety around poses and all of that around that particular training, I didn't feel confident in going out there to teach others with just that training. And that changed a lot about how I offer the work to you. That was just the beginning. Since then, I've done many, many trainings, and I'll speak a little bit more to my background in a moment, so you know why I share this work in a unique way. If you want to do the full 200-hour journey, if you want to do this work and receive your yoga teaching certificate, you'll be doing the 60-hour course. You see, this is the same, the Foundations of Teacher Training, the Foundations of Teacher Training, but you'll also be doing the Self-Mastery series. Now, I said that this for the 60-hour training, we're going to move through it quite quickly, because by October, we're already going to be into the first course of the Self-Mastery series. Don't panic, because if you need more time to complete the 60-hour work, you're going to have it. It's going to be there for you. Please don't worry about that at this moment. I'm very conscious of making it a user-friendly schedule, making the videos available to you when it works for you, and giving you space in the courses to complete the work. So we'll be already into the Heal Your Heart Journey of the Self-Mastery series by October. And then I'll show you what the rest of that looks like. So if you want to do the full 200-hour training, this is available to you. And there are many, many teachers that already have a certificate, a 200-hour training, and they can teach, but they are also interested in doing the full work because of all the deep personal development work that happens in the Self-Mastery series. Now I say personal development, but let me put it another way. Without doing this work, I'm going to say especially teachers, because I've seen this over and over and over again. Remember, I hired teachers in studios. I worked very closely with teachers. I trained teachers for over 25 years. And it might be shocking if you're not in the yoga world, but there are many, many teachers that hit burnout over and over and over again. This is your antidote to burnout. This work here is your antidote to burnout. So that's why many, many teachers, even though they already have a teacher training certificate, they choose to do the full 200-hour journey. So I'm not going to go through every single sentence line by line here, but some things that are going to happen. What results can you expect? Well, one of the biggest things that will happen is that shift in your relationship with yourself. There are many, many teachers that take training after training after training and still lack the confidence to teach, or they're so caught up in their ego, they're teaching as if it was a performance instead of sharing that yoga from the heart to heart transmission. Your student won't feel it in the same way if you're teaching yoga the same way that you would be acting or in a dance performance or something else. There are many, many performers that end up drawn to yoga teacher training, and their teaching ends up feeling like a performance. This is not a performance. This is a heart-to-heart transmission between two people, not guru disciple, not one being above another. This is a sharing of information. We learn from each other. It's a deep experience. So there are many, many people who have done multiple trainings and lack the confidence to teach. If you're lacking the confidence to teach, it means that you're lacking confidence in some even more important area of your life, and it's holding you back. Now, there are teachers, as I said, that teach as if it were a performance, or there's teachers that try to memorize and mimic what they learned from their teachers. None of that works unless you're teaching authentically. It's not going to have that same impact. Your student will always benefit no matter what kind of class you give. They'll get a nice little stretch on, might be learn a meditation, but it won't change them. It won't affect them deeply. That's the kind of work I'm interested in. So, and that's huge for me. Let me just see what else I listed here for you, if I should clarify anything else, but a lot of this comes up again. So let's scroll down here, and here's where you'll see the full curriculum, all 10 modules of the Foundations of Teaching Kundalini Awakening Yoga course. So this is the 60-hour course that I've broken down for you module by module. Module 1, Demystifying Kundalini. Why is this important? Because in truth, the goal of all yoga is to awaken you to your Kundalini energy. It's about awakening. It's about, this is enlightenment. This is knowing your true self, getting on your path, living your passion, your purpose, your destiny. And if there continues to be all of these myths and misconceptions and warnings that Kundalini is dangerous, then you never get to experience the benefit of this incredible energy that is already in you and it's available to you. You just have to wake up to it. And here's the way to do it. So we're going to demystify Kundalini. You're going to learn the truth about it, get over the myths and misconceptions. Most importantly, you're going to learn the key differences between Kundalini and other styles of yoga. Why do we do things so differently? Why do we start on the left side instead of the right side? Why don't we use Ujjayi breath like you do in your other practices? And each one of the modules is going to come with what I call a sample class. So this lower chakra sample class, there's a lot of cleansing work in this class. It's about detox and release. I've put in a lot of my favorites here that do this cleansing work. So this becomes a building block for you when you want to create your own class. You can go into this class and go, okay, what's in here and what can I work with? Or you can simply take it and teach it to your students. I'm really okay with that. Any of this work, once it's yours, it's yours. It's yours for lifetime use. This work, these classes are not available anywhere else. Each one of these classes are 100% unique. Now, you might notice some similarities with another class that you might have done on Gaia TV or Yoga International with me. There will be some similarities, of course, some familiar poses or a mantra, but none of them. There's no duplication. There's no class that you could say this one is 100% the same as the other, which also makes it interesting. You'll never get bored. Module 2, we get into how do you actually create a class? So class structure, and this is really important. How do you structure your class so it has maximum impact? So opening a class, closing a class, warm-up sequences, important safety tips for your students, commonly used mantras. And here we have a class that I call a new beginnings sample class. Some of you might have signed up online and already received from me an example, say sort of similar to this. I believe that class was only 30 minutes long. This is a longer class, and I incorporate a lot of work to, create that new beginning for you. There is a mantra you can use. There are breath techniques that you can use. There are physical poses that you can use to help you let go of the past. In module 3, we'll dive into different breathing techniques, the ones that are unique to Kundalini. We'll get into what the key poses or key movements are and how to modify them for different physical limitations. The physical and energetic benefits of each pose. As I said, the movements actually, I keep saying poses, but they're predominantly movements, free-flowing movements. You'll see some poses like down dog or up dog or some things that are familiar, but mostly we're working with free-flowing movement. And you will figure out which movements correlate to which energetic centers in the body. And every energetic center in the body has an effect on mind, body, spirit. And that's what creates those big shifts, those big changes. And here we have a class on breaking patterns. Then we move into analysis of the traditional Kriyas. So remember I said that 99.9% of the classes out there, you're gonna learn, and the trainings, you're gonna learn Kundalini Yoga as taught by Yogi Bhajan. Well, we're gonna look at those Kriyas and say, what's everybody else doing and why are we doing it differently? Okay, and because if you say you teach Kundalini, there's going to be an assumption that you're teaching exactly that. And I'm going to show you why I don't teach exactly that. And this has been like a 25-year process. It wasn't just, oh, I took the training and right away switched, changed everything. I explored very deeply why something should be taught a certain way or not. This module has heart activation work. So you can draw from this particular class and work on the heart chakra with your students. I'm going to come back to this for just a moment. Here I've got creating Kriyas by building upon traditional Kundalini sets as your starting point. if this is new to you, I don't think you realize what a huge big deal this has been for 50 years, where the mantra in the traditional Kundalini community has been, don't change the sets, do not modify anything, do not change anything, you must be taught exactly as given, as if every word that came out of their teacher's mouth was gospel truth. We are in a interesting time now because a lot is being questioned. There's some good work that was shared. And so let's look at it and let's figure out what's truth and what isn't. Okay. So you are going to learn how to create kriyas, and you're going to learn how to pair them with different meditations. You're going to learn the essential Kundalini meditations and mantras, how they can impact your meditation practice. This is very cool because meditating is hard. It's hard because it brings you face to face with yourself. And some of us really, really struggle to be still. So Kundalini has so many amazing tools to make meditation part of your daily life. That's my guarantee. By the time you're done this full 200-hour process, you will have established something similar to a physical craving to want to practice in some way each and every day. Okay. And you'll understand why that's so important, whether you have 11 minutes to practice one day or 90 minutes another day, it doesn't matter. You'll just know how essential it is, and your body won't let you not practice. And that is life-changing. In this module, we do a sample class on breaking through, which is a super interesting journey. Then there's some teaching guidelines for certain populations, like prenatal yoga, postnatal yoga, the basics of teaching kids. And then we work on the nervous system. There's a sample class for working deeply on the nervous system and for managing addiction. This particular style of yoga really is powerful when it comes to helping you overcome addictive behavior. And we all have an addiction somewhere in our lives. There's something that is a compulsive behavior, something that you turn to. There is something that you turn to as a form of a crutch, and there's a reason why that creates a huge block in your life. So we're not just talking drugs and alcohol. There's something each and every one of us does that is holding you back, and it relates to this compulsive behavior or addiction. Then we move into yogic anatomy, which is super fun. That's where we get a little more deeply into those energetic centers in the body, the chakra system, the nadis. But again, we're not exploring them for the sake of exploring them. We're exploring them to figure out, how can I use this work to make change? If I'm having self-worth issues, if I'm feeling insecure, what do I do with my body to change that? Because you can do that. If I'm feeling unfocused and confused, what do I do with my physical body to change that? There's something you can do for every condition you want to address. Maybe you want to do a detox for your liver. You can do that. There is something that you can do. And the cool thing about doing a detox for your liver is it also helps you to release anger. Okay, then again, working even more deeply with the chakra system. So you can see that's a huge passion of mine. We get into mantras, chanting, the science behind chanting, mudras, working on your intuition, something I love to do. And it's why I started our discussion today with, I think you know where you sit in terms of this training. There may be some logistics that you need to overcome to make this happen, but most of us use logistics as an excuse. Time is not an excuse, because there is no more user-friendly course than what I've offered you, because I'm going to say my life was so over busy for those past 25 years while I was running our business and all of the stuff of life. But, you know, even before that. So when I had when I wanted to sign up for trainings way back, if we're talking a long time ago, most trainings required that you took a month off work and traveled somewhere. It wasn't realistic. My first training I was able to do in the city. It was a once a month process. And I didn't really like it because by the time I went back the next month, it was just too big of a gap in between the work. But then there's trainings that have you show up somewhere every single weekend. That's also really hard. You know, I worked every single weekend of my life. That added complexity. You might have kids you want to take to soccer games when we're allowed out in the world again, or dance classes, or what you want to spend the weekend with your friends and your family. Yes, you want to do your yoga too, but it shouldn't take up every single weekend of your life. So there's lots of reasons why this course is set up the way it is. And largely it's to put the power into your hands and say, look, it's all right here for you. Use it any way you wish. You set your schedule. You take back control of your time. Take back control of your time and your schedule so that you can take back control of your life. It's that simple. Those minutes that are being wasted, those minutes are your life being wasted. Get more intentional with how you're spending your time. Sadhana, this is the #1 requirement for your effectiveness as a teacher. This relates back to the conversation I talked about, giving you a method to practice, so that practice becomes like a physical craving that your body wants you, will not let you not do each and every day. All of that work is in the 60-hour Foundations of Teaching course. Now, if you combine it with the Self-Mastery Series course, and just to give you a sneak peek of what the Self-Mastery Series course is, you might have heard me talk about it before, is these 4 courses. Today I mentioned Heal Your Heart. That's the next journey we're going into after the Foundations of Teaching. We'll be doing that in October. And then we move into Master Your Mind in November, December, Crystallize Your Vision, January, February, March, and Break Through Your Blocks in the spring. Okay. So those 4 courses make up the deep personal transformation work that's available to you. And when you combine them with the Foundations of Teaching course I just went through, those 10 modules, this is what you end up with. You end up with, it says 58 modules of in-depth studies. I just want you to know you have 60 completely unique classes. We have 58 modules of study that includes physical practice, meditations, self-inquiry work, and lecture. 58 live group calls. We're going to get together 58 times for discussion, for Q&A. Please don't worry about the time zone. It's not possible to land on a time that works for everyone when we're working with students in 30 different countries. Every single live call will be available to you as a replay. It will be uploaded in your course platform. You will have easy access to it. And I know that the questions you have are going to come up in that live call, whether you're there or not. Someone else is very likely going to have that exact same question. If you want to ask the question in the discussion forum, that's available to you. If you want to email me, that's available to you. But I can pretty much guarantee that you're going to get a lot of your questions answered by watching the live replays. These benefit-specific Kriyas we talked about, where and here it is, there's 60 completely unique Kriyas or exercise sets to work on every area of your chakra system and every aspect of your life. We talked about developing intuition, reducing your anxiety, detoxifying, strengthening the nervous system. All of that is available to you. Lifetime access. You graduate at your own pace. the only thing you absolutely have to get done is get the foundations course done by December 31st. And there is a cost. I mean, it's the course, it's in US dollars. I know that's a concern for some people. That's a logistics. Okay. I'll give you that. Budget is always logistics. When I signed up for teacher training, I whacked it on my credit card without even really knowing how I was going to pay for it. I'm just sharing my experience. I'm not telling you what to do. I don't want to get anybody into financial difficulty, but that's what I did. I knew so strongly within me that I had to do this, that I could not keep going the way I was going. I put it on my credit card and I figured it out. And I'm really glad I did. So to offset some of that exchange rate, to offset, a little bit of that financial pressure, right now, if you sign up for the full 200-hour course, you get $1,000 off. The real cost of the training is $5,997. And that's the full 200-hour training. But with $1,000 off, it's $4,997. And there's a 12-month payment plan. So that is my offering to you right now, only until end of day today, August 31st, end of day. I mentioned we do have a wonderful international community, over, students in over 30 different countries. Everybody brings their unique perspective to the conversation and have a lot to add. And they're truly supportive, truly encouraging, supportive, and so inspiring. You will get a course manual for the foundations of teaching. Very comprehensive course manual. I'll guide you to which pages to read. So don't feel like you have to go through it all at once. We're going to go through it step by step. And also hundreds of self-inquiry worksheets that will come up in the self-mastery series, in the personal development aspect of it, where we get deep into that transformational work. The other super cool thing is that there are these 2 bonuses, and I'm going to speak to this one first. And this is a bonus module with Destiny Berman, who truly she's a brilliant launch strategist. So what does that mean? It means that she helps you get your work online, whether it's for teaching or something else, some aspect of your business. We've all had to, learn how to bring our work online this year. And she's an expert in this area. And if you want to work online, I highly recommend you work with someone that really knows what they're doing, because it can be costly in so many ways, not just financially, definitely financially, but in terms of your time and energy. It can cost you a lot if you don't have somebody to guide you through the process. So I can't say enough good things about working with Destiny. She is the reason that after 5 years of trying to get my courses online, I finally got them online. And I was one of those unfortunate casualties that lost a lot of time, energy, and money before Destiny walked into my life. So we have a bonus module with Destiny, and she's going to, she's going to give you a lot of great tips and guidance on how to get your work online, whether it's for teaching or not. And then I'm going to share with you a little bit about the business of yoga, everything from landing your first teaching job to opening studios. So if you don't know much about my yoga background, you do know that I studied Kundalini. And now, as of today, you also know that I studied Iyengar yoga, but I studied many different styles of yoga. When I started my training, it was for personal reasons. It was just this instinct that I needed this in my life, and I followed that instinct, and I never looked back. I started teaching for one of the traditional Kundalini schools, and I realized after a year of teaching there that I could not. They made it a requirement at that point to dress a certain way, and there was just some things that weren't working for me. So I stepped away from that community. I said, well, I love this work. And my only option, if I love this work and I don't want to teach Kundalini yoga as taught by Yogi Bhajan, but I want to teach Kundalini because other studios weren't teaching Kundalini, I figured I had to open my own. And so I did. I opened a studio that within a couple of months, we had to open another studio. We got so busy, and then another and another, and we opened 7 studios. We collapsed them down to 4, but I didn't make it a Kundalini studio because I understood that wasn't where everybody was in their yoga journey. I feel that everybody eventually comes around to Kundalini if they're given a practice that is approachable because of how transformative it is. But my main goal all along the way was to make Kundalini accessible to people. So our studio had 150 classes a week. We were open 7 days a week, and we offered every style of yoga. And I was very lucky to work with many wonderful people through the years, from teachers to staff, and also had the gift of being able to host some of the best teachers across the globe. So I was able to invite into our studio year after year after year people like Rod Stryker, people like Shiva Ray, Sean Korn, Gouda Mook, Max Strom, Mark Whitwell, Nikki Doan, T.S. Little, Dharma Mitra. I know I'm going to forget someone and it's not going to be good. My apologies to anybody that got left out. I had the pleasure of not only hosting these teachers year after year in our studio so that I could learn from them and our teachers and our students could learn from them. I also had the gift of being able to sit with them, teacher to teacher, person to person, and really dive in deeply to some great conversations that just were incredible. I learned so much from all of these wonderful people. And I didn't let my learning stop there. As I said, I studied every style. I was just hungry to learn as much as I could. And I had traveled to India when I was very young, and that was a transformative experience, but not because of yoga. That's another story. But I started traveling back to India. I was invited there to teach at the International Yoga Festival in Rishikesh, and I took that opportunity to meet teachers and study there as well. So I have a very rich background in yoga, from being able to study with the best of the best, to running yoga studios, to having to do the marketing for our yoga studios, to having to do the hiring for our yoga studios, to having to do everything from sweeping the floors to changing the light bulbs in the yoga studios to paying all the bills and everything in between. So I can certainly tell you about running studios. I can also tell you a lot about the students' experience in yoga classes, because that was one of the greatest gifts of running the studios. Was I made sure I was on the receiving end of every single email that came into the studio for 25 years. In the last few years, I didn't necessarily answer them all myself unless I felt I had to, and I would start to field them off in different areas. We started finally, after 17 years of business, having an HR department and having, different departments within our business. But I still looked at everything that the students said, and they had a lot to say, things that they weren't likely going to tell the teacher. And it was stuff that could be very, very helpful to that teacher. So I have a very unique perspective on the student experience, because people were very open and honest about what they were experiencing. And not only from the email side, I would go into the studio year after year and every style of yoga, and just place myself at the exit and just wait there and just ask students what their experience was. And because we developed a rapport, we developed a relationship, they were very open and honest with me. And so I have a lot I want to share with you. I really do. Your students deserve to have a great experience of yoga, and you deserve to have a great experience of yoga. So yeah, that's something I would love to help you do. You'll see there's a few testimonials here. We have truly, these lovely women, it's not just women, but the couple of testimonials happen to be from a couple of lovely women. They'll give you a little bit of a feel for our community. And this is the Self-Mastery series. And if you take some time and go through the page on your own, just by clicking through these different chakras, you'll see the different courses and how they affect the different energy centers in the body and what they're all about. But just to give you a really quick idea of what they're about, Crystallize Your Vision is really waking up to your Kundalini, understanding your passion, your purpose, your life. This goes way beyond some simple manifestation technique. We're talking your destiny and your dharma. Break Through Your Blocks addresses all the things that get in the way between you and you stepping into that, what will then be a crystal clear vision of your destiny and dharma, your passion and purpose. Heal your heart, healing your relationship with yourself so that you can build authentic, truly deep and intimate relationships with everyone in your life. Certainly your partner, but also your children, issues with your parents that you still haven't healed, to be able to heal within yourself, to find peace. Relationships that come up in your career. You know, we hone in on this one special relationship, on finding our soulmate, on finding the one, as if that will magically make everything else fall in place. And we neglect our other relationships. They're all important. If you can't establish a good relationship with a friend, how is it you're going to establish a good relationship with your lover? It's all the same. It's all the same. Master your mind, overcoming the excuses the mind keeps coming up with or the justifications for why your life is the way it is. It's all excuses, and excuses are simply self-abuses. So we're going to learn how to amp up your intuition and your inner guidance and turn down the voice of that storyteller. So there are 2 enrollment options for you. There is the 60-hour course option or the full 200-hour course option, where you go through that full transformational journey from Crystallize Your Vision to break through your blocks, to heal your heart, to master your mind. Both of these enrollment options, both of them contain the 60-hour tools and techniques aspect of the course within them. When you click the sign up button on each one, it doesn't automatically sign you up. Don't panic. That'll just take you over to the page where you can see what your enrollment options are, what your payment plan options are. And this is it, guys. This is the end. Enrollment ends tonight, today, 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. And I'm not on Pacific time zone right now, so I may be asleep when you want to try to click this button, and you might have questions, which is why I took all this time to walk through this process with you. It is an amazing journey. It is an amazing community. And now that we're finally almost ready to start, that excitement is really there for me. I'm really excited to begin this journey again with you. It's going to be an amazing completion to 2021, which I know was truly a challenging year in so many ways for all of us. But we're going to create some big shifts. We're going to create some big changes, and we're going to start now. And I don't think there was anything else I wanted to share with you. I think it's all right there for you. I've also included some frequently asked questions, but we've answered them. We've gone through pretty much everything. So now it's just a matter of listening to that guidance and saying, what is your own wisdom telling you? Are you ready to do this now? And if you are, we are super excited to have you join the community. Here are your two options again. You can do just the 60-hour course, or you can do the full 200-hour course. And the benefit, of course, doing the full 200-hour course is that you get all four of those personal development courses in the self-mastery series, and the $1,000 off, and an option of the 12-month payment plan. So the link is right here. I'm going to post it for you. Please, if you have questions, please reach out quickly. The sooner you get into the course platform, the sooner you will be settled and ready for your first class, your first module that's going to show up in your course platform, in that completely private course platform tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you for following along. I hope to see you in the course. Sat Nam.